Hello, baseball fans. We are back for our Frenemies podcast, our weekly update. And DJ, this is going to be a good one, man. Trade deadline. We're halfway through the season now. And so a lot of crazy stuff happened today. I can't wait to get into this. We're going to talk about the standings a little bit. But first, let's talk about our teams. Tell us about the Cubs this week, man.
All right, so this could take a little while, David. It's been a crazy week for the Cubs, to say the least. So there's some stuff here I'm going to have you chime in on, no doubt, because just wow, I guess, is what you can kind of say about this week. With everybody, with all kinds of stuff. I don't know how I want to avoid going into certain things, but I don't know how you can with some of the stuff going on. So we'll just see what we can get out of this. So 3-4 week this week, not that great. The thing, David, that's kind of crazy about this whole thing is the Cubs just seem to have not been playing very well recently. But the good thing about it is man, they jumped out to a 13-3 start. And in years past, that was a problem. They would get off to bad starts, and then they would be going in waves all year, and they'd miss the playoffs. Well, since they started so well and they kind of are down a little bit, they can overcome this now and hopefully get hot again and become one of the better teams again. They're actually second in the NL still, win percentage-wise, which is what we got to go off of right now. So they're still up there, man. They're still in the same spot they were last week behind the Dodgers, still in first in the Central. So Monday's game was pretty cool. We got to see Casey Mize pitch. He gave up 3 earned and 3 1/3 innings. We beat him 9-3 that day. Javi Baez had his only game of the season, 2 home runs. Bodie was 3 for 5 with 4 ribbies that game. Alec Mills pitched 7 innings, went 3 earned. Funkhauser for the Tigers, Kyle Funkhauser, one of their relievers. It was good to see him pitch. I ain't seen him pitch very much. He's a local product, Oak Forest High School here. So that was cool to see. You don't get to see the Tigers very much, so it's kind of cool to see these teams like that when they come into town. So we got the win there. Lost on Tuesday, 7-1. Never in this game. Offense was terrible. Chatwood and Q got bombed. Wednesday is kind of where it gets a little crazy. We lost 7-6 to the Tigers, so we lost the series to them, which is kind of embarrassing. But about an hour before that game, David, Jason Hayward comes up to Rossi and says he's not playing. It was
Really?
a whole, deal with what everybody boycotting.
Yeah.
I got a problem with this one, David. If the whole team's out of it, done, I still don't get it, but I'm a little bit better off with it, I guess, than just some random player coming up and saying I'm not playing because of some guy that I don't know who's a criminal that I supposedly care about, so I'm not going to play today. Makes no sense to me. And I don't, as a teammate, that wouldn't sit well with me. And I'm not so sure it didn't sit well with all of his teammates, but you can't really say anything in today's world because you'll get knocked for it. So I think that's a lot of what happened there is, we got his back, But, David, this was a one-run game. And if you're in that game, we're trying to win a division here and win a World Series. You're playing the game of baseball. You're getting paid millions of dollars to do it, and you have an unexcused absence in my mind. I'm sorry, I don't get it. I was furious about it. I believe it could have cost them that game. There was a play in the outfield that was not made by I don't remember who it was, but Hayward would have made that play and he would have been in that spot. I guarantee it. So I had a real problem with that. It got crazy after that with everybody in the MLB, obviously. I just don't understand that. David, am I wrong on this? I'm just not really getting what he was doing there.
Well, again, this is such a subject. I'm almost afraid to even respond. But, back in the day, when you wanted to make a point, you played for something. You didn't sit for something. You played for something. And what I'll say to these baseball players, and some of them have, and basketball players and so forth, if you want to make a difference, donate that game check and play. Just be upfront about it. Put your money where your mouth is. I don't think Jason Hayward did anybody any favors, including Mr. Blake, who got shot by not playing. Now, I guess we're talking about it, and I guess that's probably the point that they're trying to make. But like you said, you're hurting your team. If you want to make a difference, get in front of the media and say, hey, I'm playing today, but I'm playing for Mr. Blake, and I'm donating my check to his family for today or whenever, and I'll have a lot more respect for that. But I don't get it. I do not get it. I think these MLB players don't even realize it. They're just hurting themselves, and they would get much more press if they would just play and honor Jacob Blake, I believe is his name. Honor Jacob Blake by donating money to his family or, making a statement that way. But by not playing, I don't get it at all. It doesn't prove anything to me.
I completely agree. And I'm not going to sit here and totally knock Hayward. He's done a lot for the community, but here's the problem, man. I've lived in this city my entire life, in the suburbs, and I'm telling you, David, it is a wicked city right now. It's scary to be in certain parts. It's I'm sure you've heard we are in very bad shape here. This is not a good time at all for the city of Chicago. I just don't understand why that is not problem number one. Your city is literally being blown up every weekend. That should be what we are fighting for. I do not understand this. People are dying and getting shot here every single day. I don't get it. So I'm not going to even pretend to get it. But the reason I only brought this up is because when you do this to hurt your team like he did and possibly cost us a big win, I just don't get it. I'll get off that. So Thursday we had an off day. Friday we lost 6-5 to the Reds who came into town. Tyler Mahle, David, K'd us 11 times. He was awesome. We weren't even close. The final score was a little closer than it should have been. We got 3 runs late, which you know how I feel about that. Schwarber and Rizzo homered in the first inning. We up 2-0, and then we just fell apart. Saturday, had a doubleheader against the Reds. We win 3-0. Yu Darvish, your all-star game starter. We'll get to that.
Good boy.
Man, stud. 6 shutout innings, 8 Ks. Rizzo 2-run homer, 2 homers off of Bauer. Rizzo had that game. So Rizzo and Yu carried the team that game. Awesome game. Second game got a little fun too, man. Here's another one I'm going to have you chime in on a little bit. Because we've talked about this in the past, man. We lost 6-5, and this is the Kimbrel game that drove me nuts this week. Man, I'm telling you, I was hoping we were going to get rid of him today. I'm not lying to you. Just throw him away for somebody.
Nobody wants him, but
I don't know if he tried or not, but, man, I was hoping just somebody just take that guy, please. So he throws a wild pitch with the bases loaded. Contreras can't handle it. Goes through his 5-hole, game over. We were up 5-4 in the bottom of the 7th, which is the last inning of that game because they're 7-inning doubleheaders. So we blew that one, literally, no doubt. I don't know if you heard about this, David, but in that game, you know how much I love Joey Votto. So,
oh yeah.
So, Rizzo had gotten buzzed about the 5th inning by a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. I cannot remember the guy's name that was pitching that day. He's a young guy, and it went over his head at 96, pretty close to hitting him. Rizzo backed out like, whoa. I don't think he said too much, but he was just like, hey, what was that? And our guy, of course, comes out there and buzzes them. At 96, wasn't as close to his head, a little bit more down the middle, but high. And Contreras tries to backpick the guy at first. Well, here comes Votto yelling, that's the same thing. That's the same thing. And so the bench is clear. Votto and Rizzo about fight. So it got a little fun there, and I was just hoping that somebody would unload on my boy Votto there, but it didn't end up happening. I was bummed out, but it just put Votto, man. Votto to me is with Pierzynski, and he's up there, man, with those guys, and yuck. So that was a bad.
What's happened to that dude, man? He just continues to get worse too. It's really sad. I mean, he went from being like elite player. He's one of the worst first basemen in the league statistically. Well, I mean, he's way up there with your boy Pujols probably, but he's up there, and it's crazy. I just don't get it. I don't know what's happened to that guy.
He's not walking anymore either, and he got benched for 3 consecutive games too. I don't know if you saw that, but David Bell benched him for 3 in a row before this Cubs series, and he manned up to it and said he deserved it, which I thought he would cry about. He probably cried about it behind the closed doors, but to the media, he was.
For sure.
So anyway, that was a fun game, a lot of fun. I was hoping that they would get into a fight. Only guy that got suspended out of that deal was our bench coach. He got a game suspension. Votto and Jesse Winker and David Bell all got tossed. David Ross got tossed. So it was a little fun. But, after you fight somebody like that and you're winning and Kimbrough comes in and blows it, man, that just stunk. So Sunday we blew them away 10-1. Kept the Reds 5 back instead of 3 back, so that was a big swing for us in the standings. So we were the first team in the history of MLB to have 3 outfielders hit 2 home runs in the same game. I was kind of surprised to hear that. Schwarber, Happ, and Hayward both had 2 homers. That's the first time I guess that's ever happened. So pretty cool. Colin Rea got the win. And David, here's something I wanted to ask you too. This is kind of crazy too. This was a 9-inning game, obviously, and Chatwood left the game after 3 innings pitched, I believe, with an elbow, and we're not sure if we're going to have him anymore. We're going to get an update on him pretty soon here. And doesn't look good for Chatwood, to be honest with you. So I think Q's going to slide right into his spot. But anyway, so he pitches 2 innings, and Colin Rea comes in and finishes that inning. It's the 3rd inning, so it's still early. Q's getting loose, and he throws the next 3 innings. But they gave the win to Colin Rea for 0.2 innings pitched. I was kind of surprised by that. I thought that when a starter doesn't reach the number of innings, which is 5, that he needs to get the win, that you go with the most effective reliever. I don't really know how a guy that's 2/3 of an inning is more effective.
Can I just be honest? They need to update that rule somehow, some way. I hate that rule. So, now you got the relievers that are starting games. It's just a total different ball game. But how does a starting pitcher go 5 innings and maybe give up 1 run and it's 1-1? And then the next guy comes in there and pitches 2/3 of an inning and they score the next inning and he gets the win? Like, yeah, I don't know, man. I hate that.
That just happened yesterday. I kid you not. That just happened. And I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but I just thought the same thing. I'm like, this guy just blew it and he got the win. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I guess it just is what it is. That's just the rules. But gosh, I just think it's ridiculous.
I got to look more into that because I'm kind of baffled by the fact that he got the win and Quintana was actually given the hold on that. Like,
I think that's an official scorer's discretion, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I just think they just get to decide, which seems a little bit, but whatever.
That was weird because Q pitched 3 innings and only gave up the 1 run there. I mean, that's more effective to me if you get through 3 runs, giving up 1 run than just 2/3 of an inning. I mean, I couldn't believe that. I kind of was wondering what you thought about that. So anyway, 3-4 on the week. Season total 20-14 right now. Second best team in the NL. Cardinals are 12-13 in second place. 3.5 games behind us with 9 games behind us in games played. Not sure how that works still, but I guess they're only 3.5 games back somehow. And man. Milwaukee is struggling at 15-18, Cincinnati at 15-19, and Pittsburgh at 10-21. This division is very weak, which is not what I expected. Chris Bryant still has a boo-boo out all week still. We just made a couple trades, which I'll go over real quick because we got a lot to get with the trades, but just real quick. Traded for Jose Martinez. I kind of like that one. He's a great hitter against lefties, which I think is the only real value that he has. We also got Cameron Maybin from the Tigers for Zach Short, which he was a Yankee last year. I want to kind of pick your brain a little. Cameron Maybin going to do any good?
Yes, sir. I love it from Cameron Maybin. Yep, really? I was really hoping the Yankees would keep him. Of course, they kind of had a log jam there. At least at one point they did because they needed to get Frazier up to play. But, man, Maben was a big part of that team last year. And another thing about Maben is he's an awesome clubhouse guy. Everybody loved Cameron Maben. I think he'll be a great addition to the Cubs. I don't really know what their outfield situation is, what they need, but, he's not like a great hitter, but he's solid. He had some big hits for the Yankees last year. I think he had 11 home runs in the short time that the Yankees had him. He went from being like barely on the roster to really being their fourth outfielder last year. And like I said, they should have kept him. It really looks bad now that Gardner and company aren't hitting. And he plays good defense. So I'm a big Cameron Maben fan.
Well, that's good to hear. I just saw him, like I said, he was just playing in the 3-game series we had against Detroit, and I don't really know too much about him. Statistically, he doesn't look that great, but I think some intangibles that he brings to the table that, like you said, if he's a guy coming off the bench, I think he can help you a lot. And that's what his role is going to be, no doubt. He's not a starter, obviously. But so we got Josh Osich from the Red Sox, a lefty who's got a 5 ERA. And they also acquired Andrew Chafin, who was with the D-backs for his whole career from 2014 to 2020. 368 ERA, which isn't bad. 288 career Ks and 271 innings, so he's over 1 inning K guy. So we needed a little lefty help. I don't know if those two will stick or not. Kind of gave up nothing for them, but they made a few moves, nothing too crazy. But overall, a decent week. A lot of entertaining things going on, but we didn't fall in the standings and kind of stayed where we were, being about 3.5 up on the Cardinals, and everybody else in the division kind of fell a little bit. So pretty good week for the Cubs. So David, now we shift gears, man. So I had a question for you. I wasn't sure. I didn't get a chance to look, but did the Yankees win a game since we talked last?
DJ, this team, it has been an epic bad week. So they had the COVID thing. The Yankees somehow get to be recipients of these big, long times off, and I really think that's a little bit of the problem. They just can't consistently get it together. And then when they come back, they're having to play all these double headers. That's happened twice now, and at least twice. And I think that's messing with them a little bit. Obviously, we're still missing Stanton, Judge, Gleyber Torres. We were missing LeMahieu up until yesterday, Zach Britton, Tommy Kahnle. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. Long story short, most of last week we played with a lineup that either had 4 or 5 guys hitting under 200 in it. It's terrible. Brett Gardner is in the worst swoon I've ever seen him in. He's hitting about 170. Gary Sanchez, I looked him up a minute ago. He's hitting 129, DJ. 129. And my question to Brian Cashman and company is, when does it stop? I am fed up with Gary Sanchez. When he plays, when he is able to hit, it's in big streaks, and then he sucks for weeks at a time. And then he'll go off for a week, and then he'll suck for 3 weeks. And at the end of the year, you'll look at his stats and be like, well, that's not bad. He had 34 homers last year. He's a terrible defensive catcher. He's a pass ball machine. I'm over the Gary Sanchez experience. I realize that they could do a lot worse. There's a lot of teams that would love to have Gary Sanchez. I'd say, see ya. Give me a good, strong defensive guy that can hit about 250. I'm done with that. So that's my rant on Gary Sanchez. But last week started rough. They had the big, long layoff for COVID. They come out. They have to play the Braves in a doubleheader. They get swept, score only 1 run in both of those games. Then they come back the next day and have to play the Mets in a doubleheader. They lost both of those games because of the bullpen. Chad Green came in, and this is an Aaron Boone move, dude. I just don't get it. So Jordan Montgomery pitches that game. He pitches into the 6th. He's at 68 pitches. He gives up a single, and they immediately yank him. And I think it's a 1-run game at this point. And or maybe he gave up 2 singles. He gave up 2 singles. First and second, no outs. He's at 68 pitches. Aaron Boone comes out and gets him. Chad Green walks right in, serves up a 3-run bomb, and they're behind. And Jordan Montgomery goes from 5 innings, no runs, to 5 innings, 2 runs, quick hook. I would have wanted to punch Aaron Boone in the face if I was Jordan Montgomery. And so that was that game. They ended up losing 6-4. Next game, they come back. They have the lead going into the 9th. Aroldis Chapman forgets that it's – or the 7th, I'm sorry. Aroldis Chapman forgets that's the end of the game. he comes right in, gives up a 2-run bomb, and then asks for the ball back. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. Game over. You lose. So really rough. The next day they come back and they managed to beat the Mets 2-1. And that was a bullpen game, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm sorry. That's J-Happ. So we got a problem with J-Happ, DJ, too. So he has an option that only vests if he makes so many starts. And, of course, the Yankees have been skipping him. And a lot of it has to do with this COVID deal. They go weeks without playing. Well, who's going to pitch? Who are you going to throw out there? Garrett Cole, who's rested, or J-Happ? You're going to throw Garrett Cole every time. And so J-Happ's mouthing. He's not happy. And I guess Brian Cashman pretty much told it like it was in the media, and J-Happ came out mad. Thank the Lord. J-Happ, I loved it when we signed you. You had a 5.09 ERA for the last year and a half since we have you. Shut up and pitch, dude. You're making $17 million. We would love to not skip you, but you have sucked. So we got guys in the minors that could do better. So chill it, okay? Start pitching good and you'll get paid. But the Yankees ended the week on a high note. They won Saturday and swept a doubleheader on Sunday. They're in trouble, DJ. It's bad. We're on life support. We have to now play the Rays and the revamped Blue Jays. We got to play the Blue Jays 10 more times the rest of the year. We're in trouble. The Rays just beat us 5-3. Glasnow owned us. We can't hit. Our bullpen's awful. We are getting ready to get Britton back, so that's going to help. And we did nothing at the trade deadline. So that tells me all that I need to know about what Cashman and company think about this team. I think they don't think we have enough to make it, or they would have made moves to get better. That's what I think.
Yeah, man, it's been rough, and we've been texting throughout the week, and I think one of your texts said it. I think the Yankees have lost 9 in a row. I must feel like
it ended up being 7.
Yeah,
it felt like 9. It felt like 9. It's been rough. It has been rough, and right now they're still in the playoffs. They would be the 7th seed right now in the American League. And DJ, if you'd have told me that was going to happen, I'd have said no way. But honestly, I don't know what you do, man. Our shortstop right now is Jordy Mercer. Jordy Mercer is our shortstop right now. And Duhar, I was kind of hoping he might be able to come in and play third so they can move Urshela to short. He just can't. He can't field, man. It's so frustrating. He cannot field. He's unplayable. It's just rough, man. Just really, really been a rough year. And I really was hoping for Lance Lynn or some pitcher. But like I said, I just don't think Cashman believes. And I really can't blame him. We're not really getting many of these guys back very quickly. I mean, Judges, he might be done for the season, maybe. It's because it's so short. I don't know about Stanton. Gleyber Torres is probably a week or 2 away. So it's rough times right now in Yankee land. I really believe we're going to get passed by the Blue Jays. I can't believe it.
Well, here's the thing, though, David. Like, honestly, with the guys that they have out and have had out all year, I just don't know how you overcome that. I don't care if you're the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Astros. I don't care who you are. If you're having injuries like the Yankees are having, man, it seems like the Yankees have injury problems a lot here the last few years.
It's time to shake it down, Jay. I believe it. It's time. I don't know if that means trying to trade Aaron Judge while you still can. I can't believe I'm saying that. I love Aaron Judge. He's like my favorite player. But he can't get on the field. And I know it's probably not all his fault. I don't know. This time it's a calf strain. Both times he's been on the deal, it's been a calf strain. So I don't know what you do. It's not the training staff. They fired all that. They fired all those guys. I forgot James Paxton, number 2 starters out, but it's just not going to happen. So it's going to make for a fun playoffs, I think, just to be honest with you, because I think everybody had thought, it's definitely going to be the Dodgers and the Yankees. But I think this trade deadline has really shook that up. So let's talk about that for a minute, DJ. The Padres and the Blue Jays, they pushed those chips right to the middle. What did you think about their moves?
To be honest with you, man, I could not believe the Padres just went nuts right now. Well, here's the thing, though. When we talked about the Padres, David, we were intrigued by the fact that I think me and you both believe that their farm system was capiche. Might have been number one. According to me, I thought they were number one. You know, the Rays are up there too. But, man, I'm telling you, this farm system is loaded. Well, I honestly have not had a chance to sit down and look at the prospects that went away because it was just like, poof. They just got rid of everybody. I mean, now I'm not sure, other than Taylor Trammell, you know, who went in one of the weirdest trades of all. Like, I don't know how. That was the worst trade they made, is getting rid of him for Austin Nola, Austin Adams, and Dan Altavula. What? I didn't get that one at all. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to break this one totally down, but that's the one trade of the ones that they made that I'm like, I don't know about that. That one kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. But something might be wrong with Trammell. I'm just saying, the guy's been traded like 3 times in the last 2 years, so something's not right.
The little bit that I read, that's what everybody's speculating, that maybe he's lost his luster a little bit. The craziest thing to me is somehow they got Mike Clevenger and gave up none of their top prospects. Cleveland, what are you doing?
Here's the thing, David. This is another thing too. They are done with him, obviously, and Plesac. Plesac's to the alternative site. They would have traded him today too. They got so mad about them two going out when they were in Chicago here that one time. They were so mad that they seriously might have just thrown their entire season away. You got rid of one of your best pitchers.
I guess the problem with Clevenger was that Plesac is starting here in the next few days. He's coming back. But I guess Clevenger kind of let Plesac take the hit for it and didn't say boo. And in Plesac's defense, he didn't say boo either. And so I guess eventually Clevenger decided to come out with it, but he rode with the team in a plane knowing that he was possibly exposed. And so, yeah, man, a bunch of those guys were like, yeah, heck with that guy. But, I mean, this totally reminds me of the Aroldis Chapman trade to the Yankees back in the day, when the Yankees gave them 24 baseballs, a couple bats, and some Yankee bobbleheads in exchange for it. I mean, literally, I still can't even name – I think Jose Peraza was in that trade. But other than that, none of those guys made it up. And it was like the Reds – I don't know what they were doing. And so, again, Cleveland, which they got a better return. I guess they were wanting guys closer to the majors, but Austin Hedges has never hit. Cal Quantrill seems to be a pretty nice reliever. And then there was 2 other guys in there that I don't know much about, but none of them were the top prospects. If I'm trading Clevenger, I have to have your best or second best prospect. I have to have it. And so it's really a head scratcher to me. But, man, it made the Padres dangerous. But I'm going to tell you what else it did. I read a thing today that said they have turned over a third of their roster in 2 days. So it makes you wonder about team chemistry. They got 2 brand new catchers. The whole catching rotation that they have is gone. And, man, that can mess with a pitcher. Trust me, it can really mess with a pitcher. So it makes me wonder.
So, David, I'm just trying to wrap my head. Just crazy things we've never seen before. You literally have thrown 2 of your starting pitchers. This is a contending team, David. The Indians are legit. We know their offense. We know we were ranting about their starting rotation. Bieber is an absolute animal. And you got Clevenger and all these guys working for you. Plesac's a stud at the end. And they blew it up, man. They said, forget you, Plesac. And you said he's coming back. But they got rid of Clevenger, man. And a contending team has thrown a guy out for not even he didn't end up exposing anybody to anything, but just the fact, I guess, that he could have. And
lied about it. I think that's the key. He totally let Plesac take the hit for it, and so I think that's what really got him in trouble.
But do you? I just don't know, man. I'm just trying to figure out how this isn't something that these guys just seem to be.
Oh, if I'm an Indian fan, I'm ticked. I am ticked.
That they traded him?
Oh, when you're in first place or second, right behind the White Sox?
That's what I can't figure out.
in their defense, I think Cleveland's in this mode of rebuilding while staying contending. But if that was the case, you don't try to get a bunch of 4A players. I hate to say it that way. You try to get their best prospect. And the Padres are all in. So, I don't get it. You're trying to get a star to turn into another star, not a star to turn into 4 decent players or 3 decent players. So that's what I don't understand about it. Just the return was just super underwhelming. I don't get it.
And the Indians had, I wish I would have looked up his name, but the kid that's like 110 pounds that made his debut this week that had a pretty good outing. They've had a couple guys step in with these two being out. He looks pretty good, and it's like, man, if you could have just kept this whole thing. I just don't understand, David, how you don't, let's try to work this out. You're supposedly a family, and it just seems to me like it's just something that could have been worked through, and this could have, I'm telling, like, I don't really care what a 41-year-old lefty Oliver Perez out of the bullpen cares, but I'm pretty sure he said if these guys come back, I'm out. And I don't know how much weight that had on anything, but I just am baffled, man. A team in contention gets rid of one of their top pitchers and just throws him away. Wow. But, yeah, man, Padres were not done by any means. Jason Castro from the Angels, Mitch Moreland to solidify the DH. What do you think of those two?
Obviously, Jason Castro is going to be an upgrade with the bat. Moreland's having an awesome season, man, and I guess he just owns righties. My understanding is they're going to platoon, so it can't hurt. I mean, obviously, it can't hurt. And the Padres are for real, man. They're nipping on the Dodgers' heels. This is going to be an interesting team in the playoffs. It's very interesting.
They got Trevor Rosenthal from the Royals too, and that guy has found it, man. He's found it. He's looking like the old
ghost.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, they are so much fun to watch. You just threw all the chips in now. We talked about this. We weren't sure if this team was going to go for it. We didn't even say this year. We didn't think that there was going to be – I mean, we knew they were going to be good, but we didn't think that they were going to just kaboom this year. We thought maybe next year or the year after. No, they are doing this now. And you got to hand it to them, man, with the way that they're playing, and they're the exciting team in baseball. Everybody's talking about them. They've got some studs on this team. They are having fun. They just completely took the trade deadline and owned it, man. I give them an A. That was awesome. Awesome job.
What do you think about the Blue Jays? So, they're kind of nipping at the Yankees' heels. And, at first, when I heard the moves they made, I was like, oh, man, that's going to make them really good. But then once I went back and kind of looked at them, I'm not sure I'm trusting Robbie Ray and Ross Stripling at this point. Both high ERAs, Robbie Ray's averaging a walk per inning. What do you think about that? I mean, obviously they're better than what they had, but do you think it's enough to push them into the playoffs?
I don't think it's enough. I think they're right there, man. They could sneak in as a 7 or 8 seed. There's no doubt. I just don't see them overtaking the Yankees. I know that the Yankees are in shambles, but I just don't see them getting the automatic bid. I think they're going to be down in the 3 seed and just fighting for that last spot. Did they do enough today to solidify that? I don't know, man. Robbie Ray's the guy. Which Robbie Ray you going to get, Which Ross Stripling are you going to get, really? I mean, I've seen Ross Stripling dominate games, and then I've seen him get blown up.
Yeah.
And, we talked about this before with Stripling when we were doing the Dodgers. He got traded already and then got brought back like Jock did. And, he took it well, and then they just traded him again. So it's like, man, that poor guy going through all that. But, they got Jonathan VR too, which kind of helps them depth-wise. I thought that was a good move, get a good guy off the bench there. Tajon Walker too. I mean,
he'll be pretty short for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, they also got Daniel Vogelbach, man, who was an all-star last year. And I know he's been terrible this year, but if he finds his
that's your boy right there.
I'm telling you, man, if he finds it, he can mash. They got Rowdy and Daniel Vogelbach, so you have those guys hitting 4 and 5. It's like, So I don't know, man. I think they did
Yeah,
okay.
man. Go ahead.
I think they did okay. I'm not completely sold on their moves, but I think that they're trying. And we talked about this with the Blue Jays, all the prospects that they got up, they're trying to do things, which I love to see. I talked a lot about how their GM said that he knew they had to go get starting pitching, and I think he's putting Band-Aids on for now to make more splashes in the offseason with some free agents. Seem to be pretty decent Band-Aids, so we'll see how it goes. Even if this team barely makes the playoffs, David, and gets kicked out, these young guys getting that experience is going to go well for them. It really is. Nobody's going to expect them to win it all or go to the championship this year. It's not going to happen. But if they get some playoff, they get playoffs out of this, that's a big step in the right direction for these young guys. Now they've tasted it. Once you taste that, man, you want it, and you can fight into spring training next year. You get motivated, man. So I think they're doing the right thing. It looks good on paper so far. We'll see how it pans out, but man, they were just as busy as the Padres. Really, they made a ton of moves too.
Yeah, I think they got enough to pass the Yankees, man. Like I said, the Yankees are just in some real trouble. So I think they're only a couple games behind them. We got to play them 10 times. So I mean, much respect to them for like you said, kind of going all in and trying to make the playoffs, and I think it could happen.
So the A's, David, got a couple pieces that helped them a lot. They got Mike Minor, who talked about last year was the best pitcher for the Rangers, if he finds it again. And then they upgraded second base, which they've struggled at, and we knew they were going to struggle at. They got Tommy La Stella, man, and La Stella's a stud. He's not great by any means, but if he gets hot, he is a great player. So what do you think of those two moves?
Man, I'm a big believer in the A's. You know that. By the way, DJ, who has the best record in the American League right now? Yep, it's the A's, the team you didn't believe in. And who has the worst record in the American League right now?
Do they have the worst record?
The worst record in the American League.
Come on.
We really missed on two teams, so obviously you missed on the Angels. I can't take that one. I really missed on the D-backs. What the heck happened to the D-backs, man? I thought they were really going to make a run. I'm not sure they have the worst record in the National League, but it's close. It's real close. I think they've lost 10 out of their last 11 games. And, of course, they obviously in tear-down mode now. They traded Starlin Marte, which really surprised me that he landed with the Marlins, especially after the Marlins traded VR. Kind of weird, but, he signed cheaply for next year, so good move on the Marlins' part. But anyway, it's just so interesting, man. The teams that are the most involved this year at the trade deadline are not traditional playoff teams. And so I think one thing this short schedule has done is a lot of teams are in, man. So there was a lot of movement this year. This is one of the more fun trade deadlines we've had in a while.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, it's crazy. To answer your question, I love the A's. Picking up Minor, hopefully they'll straighten him out. Obviously something's off. And then La Stella is a big upgrade from what they had at second base, which really was their only hole. And so, man, I love what Oakland did.
I got to hand it to them, too. We talked about second base when we went over this team. They made an upgrade. They did the right thing. They got another arm, too. Good on them, man. They definitely are going for it. They should be going for it. So good on them to keep going with adding some guys. So there's a few more moves here, just some ones that I saw here today. The Reds got Archie Bradley. That's kind of weird. I mean, how bad they're doing. The Reds, man, I do not understand them. What is going on with the Reds, David? I'm baffled. Like I said, I just saw them for a 4-game series. We split with them. When you've got Sonny Gray and Trevor Bauer, Castillo's been terrible, but he's got good stuff. I think a lot of the problem they said with Castillo is nobody's scoring for him. He's getting 1 to 2 runs every time he starts. And how is this offense just – I don't get it, man. This offense has so much potential, and it's been bad. I think it's a lot of that's on the offense this year for them. So they go and get Archie Bradley to be their closer, I guess, and –
Yeah.
They're not out of it. Obviously, they're right there, and everybody's pretty much right there right now. So, I mean, good on them. They got a closer. He's good. So, it was just kind of weird that the closer was what they see. That I don't know.
Well, their bullpen's good. Being close by here, their bullpen's a mess. And, I guess I can go both ways. I'll give them kudos for trying. But, man, I would have had to really consider selling out, just to be honest with you, if I'm the Reds. With some of those guys you have to keep. You just signed Moustakas, some of those other guys. But, man, I'm thinking several of their players are only signed for another year. I would have had to really consider selling off. I don't know how far they are out of a playoff spot, but, man, it just doesn't look like they have it this year for whatever reason. In the offseason, I totally expect a managerial change. And so I would have been real tempted to just try to shake that roster up, to try to shake something out of it, try to get some new players in there and start looking towards next year. But Archie Bradley's a good ad, man. He's one of the better bullpen arms they could have gotten, and that's what they needed. Like I said, I guess he's going close for them now. So, I mean, it's an upgrade. I don't know what they're doing with Brian Goodwin. That one was kind of a head scratcher. The thing I read said he's going to play. They think he's a better bat than Shogo, and they're waiting on Senzel to get back. At that point, he'll probably go to more like a fourth outfielder type, but he's going to play until then. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, Bradley was a good pickup. I'm not too high on Brian Goodwin, but Rocky's got Kevin Pillar from the Red Sox. Kevin Pillar is a stud defensively. They can use him. He'll definitely fit in. Philly's got David Phelps. They also got Brandon Workman. They kind of needed bullpen help, obviously, which is good on them. That was obviously their biggest need. We talked about that last week. Gave up Nick Pivetta, who was he's all right. We'll see if he finds it with a new change of scenery. But what do you think of those? Anything special out of what the Phillies did?
Well, I like the Phillies. I guess they had a bullpen ERA of 9 last time we talked.
Yeah.
And since then, they've added 4 bullpen arms. I mean, none of them are like top-tier guys, but Girardi has always done a good job managing bullpens. And so I would put a lot of faith in him using them to the best of their ability. Now, he's quirky. He has roles for guys, and he does not move out of those roles. But, Workman had a great year last year. Really had the same peripherals this year, just the ERA and stuff was up. So I think they're good moves, man. We talked about the Phillies can definitely make some noise, man. They have the pieces in place. They're kind of on the outside looking in right now, but the Braves kind of weaken that rotation. They have an opportunity. So I like those moves.
Yeah, that's about it, I think, unless you've got anything to add as far as anything trade-wise. I think we covered pretty much all the major ones. But it was busy, man, and I don't think we predicted this to happen. I got like almost a page here full of trades, and I thought there would be some here and there, but some teams really went after it, man. I was just Padres, man, and the Blue Jays were entertaining, man. That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Teams are trying. They're still going in a weird year where pretty much nobody's out of it yet. I mean, there's a few teams out of it, but the teams that were actually like the Angels and the Pirates didn't really get picked apart by anybody, and those are the teams that everybody thought was going to get picked apart. They didn't get rid of much of anybody, and the teams that are on the bottom. So it was really weird to kind of see some teams what they were thinking, what they were doing, moving pieces around. But we'll see. The dust will settle in a few days, and we'll see, like you said, about how the chemistry works with the Padres if these guys keep rolling. It's going to be very interesting to see what, especially them and the Blue Jays, who I think the two winners are at this deadline. Let's see how they come about here in a few days.
So, DJ, let's talk about mid-season all-star teams.
Do it.
I'm super excited to go over this. So, this really had I struggled on a couple of these, just to be honest with you. These are some interesting lists, some guys that you wouldn't normally think on both sides are on some of these teams. So, give me your AL all-star team.
Okay. So, I'm going to go with the pitchers first. I will give you my pitchers, and then I'll have you give me your pitchers. Does that work? You want to do it that way?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I only picked one, or
Okay.
I picked a Cy Young guy and a closer. But yeah, we can go over them.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just give you. I did kind of a 5-man rotation and a closer, so I'll just give you the guys I think that deserved it the most here. Shane Bieber. I'm gonna shout it on the rooftops. Dylan Bundy. Lance Lynn.
Oh,
Kenta Maeda. And Garrett Cole round out my top 5. What are you owing about? Huh?
you can't get off your boy Dylan Bundy. Man. What is up with that?
David.
He's 2 straight bad starts.
He's got 4 wins, 47 Ks in 43 innings, and a 2.47 ERA. How is that not an all-star? 247.
All right, I have to give it to you. He's an all-star. I just had to give you a hard time on that one because I knew that was coming. Why didn't the Angels trade him?
I don't know. They're obviously thinking he's going to be their guy or one of their top guys.
Dumb. I mean, he's just signed to a 1-year deal, though.
Yeah,
unless they're going to extend him or something.
You're right. If they're not extending him, they could have got some pieces for him. I agree. They're out of there. They're definitely. Oh, they're out of it, I guess. But
maybe, barely. Dylan Bundy has 4 of their 8 wins. He's definitely the team MVP. There's no doubt about
it. And so easily, this is kind of easy for my closer, man. I'm going Liam Hendricks of the A's. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
1.10 ERA, 10 saves, 2 wins. So who you got for your 2 pitchers?
So I went with Bieber. He's the best in either league at this point. There's a couple guys that can make an argument, but it's got to be Bieber. And then, of course, I went with Hendricks as the closer as well. 1.10 ERA, 10 saves. Bieber has 75 Ks in 46 innings. He's just unreal. I don't even think the Cy Young race is even close. And so, I went there. So tell me about your lineup.
All right, so my outfield consists of Whit Merrifield, Mike Trout, and Kyle Lewis.
DJ. How do you leave Eloy out of that list? Come on, man.
No.
11 bombs, 26 RBIs, hitting 295.
I knew you were going to get into this. I'm not putting any White Sox on this team. Sorry.
DJ, this is the All-Star team.
Nope. Can't do it.
Okay, so my outfield, I went with Trout, who's the man, who is always the man. I went with Teoscar Hernandez.
Okay.
Hernandez.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's 10 homers, 28 RBIs, 1,001 for the OPS. Only hitting 267, but he's having a great year. And then I went with my boy Eloy. 295, 11 homers, 26 RBIs, 942 OPS. Come on, DJ.
Those 2 guys didn't even make my bench.
How is that possible?
Because Kyle Lewis and Whit Merrifield are better than he is right now.
DJ. Come on. Who's your first baseman? I just got to know. Who's your first baseman?
Luke Voigt.
Listen, I love my boy Luke Voigt. He's now leading the league in home runs.
Yes, he is, which is the starting all-star first baseman.
He is not better than Jose Abreu. Jose Abreu is the MVP right now. If I had to pick the MVP, it's Jose Abreu. 312. What is it?
312 batting average?
312 batting average, 12 homers, 1 less than Luke Voigt, 30 RBIs, and a 996 OPS. He's MVP, DJ.
MVP over Mike Trout?
Yes. Yeah. That's what happens when you have a higher batting average, about the same RBIs, the same amount of homers, and a better OPS. He's the MVP. And plus, I'm tired of Trout getting it. Who do you have at second? This ought to be easy.
Brandon Lau.
Yep. I went the same way. Shortstop.
Xander.
Yep. That's an easy one. And I got to know from the Red Sox, and you Red Sox fans, you're in tank mode. Why don't you just trade Xander?
They almost did.
I think it's a fair question. It's a fair question. I think you have to. Maybe, unless they're going to do it over – if that's the mode that they're in, I hate trading Xander. But if you're going to trade Mookie, you might as well trade Xander too. So, anyway, what about third base?
Matt Chapman, baby.
Yep, Matt Chapman. So, give me that outfield again. Whit Merrifield, Trout and who was the other guy?
Kyle Lewis. Woo!
Give me his
Kyle
stats.
Lewis's
39
numbers.
batting average, I'm thinking.
Look at Kyle Lewis's numbers. That's the
How many
AL
homers he
MVP.
got?
Not MVP, Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. I'll hand you
Kyle
that.
Lewis, Rookie of the Year, baby.
He's not better. Wait a minute. Is Eloy? He doesn't qualify for rookie anymore.
No.
He would be Rookie of the Year. And you can make the case for Robert as well. He's having a nice year.
Not better than Kyle Lewis.
He plays for the White Sox. All right, National League. Give me the National.
Catcher. You forgot catcher. Who you got a catcher?
Oh, I love the catcher. Who you got?
Pedro Severino.
Yep, I went the same way.
Yeah.
So how crazy? Listen, I almost had 2 Orioles on that list. What about Santander from outfielder for the Orioles? Man, he's having a great year.
Got to be on your bench, right?
Yep. He almost made it in. But Teoscar, I had to give it to Teoscar.
He's having a great year. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. Jose Ramirez on the bench. Anthony Rendon. Kyle Tucker's been killing it. That's been a shock, kind of, because I didn't think he'd play that much this year, but he's almost got 30 ribbies. So, yeah, there's a few other names. And then who's your DH?
I didn't pick a DH, but let me think here, just off the top of my head. Oh, that's an easy one in the American League. Nelson Cruz, the man.
Yes, sir. That was easy. Yep, you gotta have a twin in there because they're pretty much in first place. So
actually, they're in third place.
Doggone it! I'm not supposed to. What? The White Sox are not in first. So if they're tied with whoever at the top there, they don't have a winning record over them. So by default, they go to second.
The best team in Chicago, DJ.
Not even close, oh man. Not even close.
All right. Jump over there to the National League. Give me some National League pitching.
All right, man. This was kind of fun. Trevor Bauer and Sonny Gray. You got to go with those 2 red guys. Holy smokes, what years they've had. Yu Darvish is my starter. 6 wins, leads the league. 52 Ks, a 147 ERA. He's been untouchable and nasty with 6 different pitches. Wow. I'm also going to DeGrom with his 1.80 ERA. Even though he only has 2 wins, somehow he never gets wins. It's unbelievable, isn't it? I don't get it. Max Fried's carried the Braves. Got to put him on there. Zach Davies, man, what a dog. He's like the Padres ace, man. We talked about how much we loved him in the 4 spot. He's been like there too, man. Wow. 2.61 ERA, 5 wins. Clayton Kershaw has 4 wins and a 1.80 ERA. Wow. And my closer's Kenley, man. I would have never guessed it was Kenley.
I thought he was cooked.
I thought he was toast. 9 saves, a 1.23 ERA, and a 1.0 record. Wow.
Unreal.
That Dodgers bullpen is dirty with Blake Trinan. And when Kenley's pitching like he is, ooh, good luck.
Yep.
Who you got?
I can't argue with any of that, man. Yeah, Darvish would be my Cy Young Award winner right now. But it's closer. I had to think about it a little bit. I had all those guys that you named, Fried, Kershaw, DeGrom, Bauer, Sonny Gray. Yeah, I had to definitely think that through. But I would give it to Darvish for a lot of reasons. 6 wins at 1.47 ERA. I think it's crazy that Darvish found it because 2 years ago I thought he was cooked.
Me too.
But obviously I don't know if the mechanics were out of whack. I know he's coming off an arm surgery, and I don't know. But I thought he was done. I thought it was the world's dumbest signing. But, man, he's making making him look smart now. So he's unhittable. He is nasty too, man. Everything he throws moves. It's amazing.
Yep.
And I guess there was rumors that he had a sixth pitch now. I mean, or a new pitch.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they called it, but anyway, I have to do some research on that.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you. He's got 6 pitches, man. That sixth one is I don't even know what he calls it. It's like that splinker that we were talking about with one of the prospects, the splinker.
Yep.
He must have something like that where he mixes 2 pitches and makes his own because he, like you said, his ball is moving all over the place like crazy right now, man. He's unhittable. It's been awesome to watch him. It's like rest of the guys we kind of not sure, but he's consistent, man. Awesome.
Yeah. So catcher, that's a pretty easy one, right?
JT, buddy.
Yeah, he's the best. Probably, I mean, obviously the best in the league. 274, 9 homers, 25 RBIs, 902 OPS. What about first base?
Rizzo.
Come on, dude. Freddie Freeman.
I'm just kidding.
Freddie Freeman.
I'm just messing with you.
I was starting to wonder about you.
Nah, Rizzo.
Chicago bias.
He didn't do enough in the first 10 or 15 games. He's not even close. It's Freeman.
All right, this is where it gets fun. Second base.
Dude, it's Ian Happ. Ian Happ has been the Cubs' offensive MVP. If you're going to have an all-star team, you got to at least have a Cub on there. I know we got you on there, but it's Ian Happ.
I did this just to drive you crazy. It's Wilmer Flores, man. That's who it is. 286, 8 homers, 21 RBIs. Yes,
What?
sir.
Wilmer
Yes,
Flores.
sir. That's who it is. It's Wilmer Flores.
Wilmer Flores is not even close to Ian Happ right now.
Fight me. Give me Ian Happ's stats.
Not even close. I'm pulling them up right now. Let's 8 homers and 26 ribbies. Ian Happ had 8 homers in the first week.
Nope. No, I'm right.
You are so wrong. Listen to me. 9 homers, 20 ribbies, and a 294. That beats you.
I'm giving it to Wilmer Flores just because.
Oh, man. Ian Happ.
All right, short.
Oh, that's the MVP. MVP. Tatis Jr.
Man.
Not even close.
And they got right behind him, they got Machado, who he's back, man. Machado is back. 309, 11 homers and 29 RBIs. Wow. What a 1-2 punch, man. Tatis, 315, 13 homers, 31 RBIs. And I'm thinking he's got like 7 steals, too. Both those guys with OPS over 1,000. Wow. That's unreal. And that's why the Padres are going for it, because they're getting historic seasons out of 2 guys. So more power to them, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. This outfield could be interesting too, man. Give me your outfield.
All right. So I had to look at Soto because he missed a few games with the COVID at the beginning, but he caught up with it fast. So it's Soto, Betts, and Charlie Blackmon, man. I don't know how you can't have those 3 out there.
So I had those 3, but I cheated on them because I knew you were going to go there. So I booted Blackmon, and I'm going to give it to Mike Yastrzemski. 280.
What?
Now listen to me. You listen to my reasoning here, because you can't just go off batting. 280, 7 homers, which is more than Blackmon, 24 RBIs, and a 997 OPS, also more than Blackmon. So just to be controversial, I put him in. Fight me.
Charlie Blackmon's almost hitting 400. How do you even?
He's hitting 354. Whatever. I'm putting Yastrzemski in.
54. You're putting a 290 guy in there. Hey,
I'm trying to make conversation, DJ.
I did tell you that Yastrzemski last I checked, that's been a week and a half ago, was leading in WAR over Tatis. So if he's the all-time WAR guy, then these yahoos that they probably have him as the All-Star Game MVP.
He's not leading him anymore. I have the WAR here in case you wanted to know.
Who's in top now? Tatis?
It's Tatis.
Yeah.
Tatis, let's see here. He's 2.5. I can't read my writing here. I believe Machado's 1.7. Betts is 2.5. Yastrzemski 1.9. And that's because he plays good defense and he runs the base as well. Soto 1.0. I did not get Blackman, so I'm not sure what his is. Real Muto 1.7. I totaled it up, and the National League definitely had more wins above replacement than my American League lineup.
Because we're better.
But that was mostly because of Betts, Tatis, and Machado. So,
did you have any guys on the bench on that?
I did not. I would have definitely put your boy Happ in there, and obviously Blackman with the way I have my lineup, or Yastrzemski. Yastrzemski's got to be there, man. He's having a great year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he is. I got him on the bench. There's no doubt.
I didn't put a DH for the National League either. I still can't.
Oh, I forgot that one too. How did I forget that? Man, I don't know where to go. I'll go with man, give me Bryce Harper on DH. I'll take Harper as my DH.
I'm so glad I didn't put Harper in there. I was struggling with not putting him in the outfield rotation there as well. But he is having a good year, as bad as I hate to say it. I'm not a Bryce Harper fan at all.
Having a great year, though. So I also have Mike Yastrzemski on the bench, Jesse Winker from the Reds. Holy smokes. Trevor Story and Trey Turner, my bench.
Yeah. I think the National League would have an edge, man, head-to-head. Of course, you never can tell, but things have evened out a little bit with the DH and everything. So the pitchers – their ERAs and stuff tend to be artificially low in the National League because of the DH, but this year they have one. Yeah. And so I think the National League would have a little bit of an advantage. DJ, I want to give you a few not all-stars, okay? I love this. How about Jose Altuve?
No.
211, 3 homers, 12 RBIs. DJ, you were putting him in the Hall of Fame last year. I just want to throw that out there. George Springer. He don't know what's coming either. 209, 5 homers, 17 RBIs. Your boy Justin Upton, who you predicted was going to turn it back on this year, 130, 3 homers, 9 RBIs. Your boy Ryan Braun's hitting 182 right now.
That makes me so happy.
Gregory Polanco, who I kind of thought was going to have a bounce back, 120. How about old Christian Yelich, man? 195. Now, he does have 8 bombs, hitting 195. And the Brewers, boy, Seattle is looking smarter and smarter. They traded Narvaez when the value was high. 159, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. So that's my not all-star team. Of course, Gary Sanchez is in there too at 129 with 6 homers.
Ooh.
He did hit a grand slam the other day to win a game, so I guess I shouldn't complain. But he won't hit another home run for like 3 weeks.
It would have been interesting, Dave, to see what the fans would have done with this vote, just putting names in there. And then they would have been like, you know that guy's hitting 160, right? Do you understand this?
Oh, yeah.
It's a popularity contest. Yeah.
Yelich, I didn't know he was that bad. I knew he was slumping in the first part of the season. I thought for sure he'd bust out eventually. But, yeah, I went back and checked. Wow. And it's amazing. The Brewers are still kind of hanging around. I don't think they're very good, but somehow they're kind of hanging around. I think Craig Counsell's just the man, just to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, when you got your center fielder opting out and just they've had a lot of crazy things happening to them too. And like you said, the Giants are hanging on by a thread to the last spot. The Giants somehow, and the Brewers are right there behind them, man. So
I saw that coming. And the Marlins are in the playoffs right now. The Marlins.
Oh yeah. They're playing baseball, man. And they've pretty much caught up in games played too. So it's good to see that.
Yeah. So, DJ, been weird. They got a bunch of new weird rules. Some I'm liking, some I'm not. So let's talk about that a little bit. What do you think about the 7-inning doubleheaders?
Okay, so here's my thing on the 7-inning doubleheaders. For this year, it makes complete sense to me, 100%. We got to find ways with all this stuff going on, craziness, everything that we can think of is happening. They've got to find ways to get these games in. So I don't think there's going to be too much of looking back on these things and saying, well, that was only a 7-inning game. You don't really do that with games. Even if they're 5-inning games and they become official, nobody ever remembers that. So as long as it's just this year, I'm cool with it. I am not a fan of doing this in a normal year. I'm just not. I'm just a purist when it comes to that. There's not very many doubleheaders when you play a regular season. You probably play 3 or 4 throughout the whole year. So I'm a fan of 9 innings when it does that. But when it's bogged down like it is now, I get it. 2020, yes. 2021, no. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I get it. The Yankees seem like they're playing a doubleheader every other day. Their pitching shot, and so if they were playing 9-inning games, I don't know what I would love to know how many pitchers the Yankees have used because of this. Guys that were like in Double-A last year, that with no way they would be on the roster this year. They've had to use them, so it's made things interesting, I guess. But I don't want to see it going forward either. What do you think about the runner starting at second in extra innings?
This is the one that I'm having a hard time with. I'm on the fence on this one big time. I've got a solid answer for everything else. Man, I don't know about this one. On one end, I just like the purist of the game, just go until somebody wins. On another end, if I'm laying in bed on a school night and I got to get up the next morning, it's the 9th inning and it goes to extra innings. Normally, I'm annoyed by that, and I want the game over. So man, I'm not sure on that one, to be 100% honest with you. I think I need more time with it. I'm not sure what to do with that one. I see both sides of that. I just am not sure on that one. I'm going to be honest with you. What do you think?
I'm kind of a fan of it. I think in the long run, it's going to help with injuries, especially with some of these pitchers. Everybody throws 100 miles an hour now, and I think having to pitch a guy 3 straight days because you're in inning 15 of a game. I mean, those games can be exciting, and maybe I would be in favor of taking that off in the playoffs, maybe, or something. But I'm a fan of it. It gets the games over quicker. I guess fans supposedly have complained that these games are too long, so they're trying to do things to kind of shorten them up. I would probably keep that personally. I just think it's good for the game. What do you think about the 3-batter minimum?
Nope, not a fan.
You're out?
I'm out on that. Let a manager do what he wants to do with his matchups, and I mean, you don't limit the amount of guys that can come up and pitch hit, or when you can pinch hit, or when you can't pitch hit. So why are you telling me what to do with my pitchers? I don't like that one at all. If you're mad about pitching changes, so be it, man. Like I said, to piece together the correct combination to win a game is the hardest thing to do as a manager by far, to handle your pitching staff. And I just feel like you should be able to do exactly what you want to do with your pitching every single night. You use them as much as you want to use them. You throw them as many pitches as you want to throw them. I hate that. I'm not a fan of that one at all.
Yeah, I'm not either. It's going to ruin a lot of guys' careers, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm thinking back to, again, I'm a Yankee fan, so I have to think this way. I'm thinking back to guys like Jeff Nelson and Mike Stanton, Graham Lloyd. Those guys were coming in for 1 or 2 batters, and it did make it interesting. I get it. There are a lot of pitching changes in some of these games, and if you're not a purist like both of us are, it probably does get annoying, watching an inning take 30 minutes because there's been 3 pitching changes. So I understand it, but I'm like you. the pitching changes make the game more interesting to me because, like you said, then you got more pinch hitting going on. So I don't have a problem with it at all. I wish they would bring that back. I'm trying to think what other rules have changed this year.
So what do you think about the expanded playoffs? Are you a fan of 8 teams per? Do you think it just should be just a 2020 thing, or should they? Okay.
Not a fan of it at all. I think it makes the season, and it is a long, and you know, in everybody's defense, it is a long season, and but I just don't like it, man. I don't like it where half the league makes the playoffs. I just think there's something wrong with that. I don't know. Maybe it's the purist in me. I loved when they came out with a wild card. I was even iffy when the second wild card came out. And now I'm just 100% out on half the league making the playoffs. What about you?
100% out. I watch Quick Pitch every night. That's my favorite show by far. I love that show. And they show the standings at the end of the show. And it's like all the teams in yellow are making the playoffs. Well, that screen is like glowing. It's like the whole thing's in yellow. It's like there's more teams that are going to miss the playoffs than they're going to make the playoffs. And no, I'm not a fan of that. I go back to the way it was. I like the format it is now, and I don't want to change that. So 2020, you can have this for this year, but hopefully we're back to normal in 2021 as far as that one goes.
I guarantee it's back though, DJ. It does create more interest, you know, from fans on some of these teams, you know, that wouldn't normally make it. It made the trade deadline 100% more interesting. It's going to be back, but yeah, I hate it.
I think it's going to stick too. I really do, unfortunately. So the other one is the Universal DH. So this is National League and American League now. What do you think of that?
100% agree with it. Keep it. I never want to see another pitcher hit again. It was worthless. It was useless. It just made no sense. It's never made any sense to me why they didn't have a DH. I've never understood. There's a lot of purists out there that hate this idea. I do not want to see a guy who's got one hit in his last 100 at bats swing the bat in a key situation. I think it's stupid. Keep the DH. I love it.
100% agree. If the American League was doing it, the National League was way behind on this. National League purists are the ones that were struggling with this one. I don't get it. I don't want to ever see a pitcher hit again and hit the ball pretty much for a base hit and then jog down because they don't want to pull anything and get thrown out anyways. So it was awful to watch. I hated every minute of knowing that my catcher was hitting 230 and was batting 8th, and then my pitcher was up 9th. It was kind of like you're punting in the 3rd inning already. And then you see the American League, all these guys just mashing, scoring all these runs, and I'm like, what are we doing? So I am a huge fan of that one. We keep that from now on until eternity. The only other one I saw as far as rule changes, and this is kind of a cool one too. I never even thought of this, but suspended games. So like if the game started last year and it got rained in the 2nd inning, that game would start over whenever they rescheduled it. Now it continues where it was, you know, if you're in the 2nd inning, when you make that game up, you're starting from that point. And why the heck wouldn't you? You know, so that makes total sense to me. I've actually had a situation where I've hit a home run and we got rained out before it was official and it doesn't count. And you're like, oh.
No doubt, man. That rule has been a long time coming, man. I always thought that was ridiculous. You play 4 innings, basically half a game, and it doesn't count. Nah, man, that's dumb.
So that's a good one. I hope they keep that moving forward too. So pretty cool stuff. Some of this, like we said, we pretty much agreed on most of these, so that's kind of rare, but that's cool.
Well, DJ, I guess it's probably about time to wrap it up with Wilmer Flores as the second baseman all-star. So you just go to bed thinking about that. Text me later and let me know what you think. I knew you were going to hate that. I couldn't wait to dole that one out. It was awesome.
Wilmer Flores, get out of here, man. You put him in there over
Well,
the Cubs
I guess
MVP
we'll wrap
right
it up,
now.
buddy. Well, hopefully our teams have a better week this week, man.
Yeah.
Not getting off a good start for my Yankees, but hopefully we'll get something more to root for. And I guess we'll see everybody here in about a week. The season's already winding down. It's so weird. I was thinking about that the other day, just how strange it is and how I don't particularly like the short season, to be honest, but it has made things a lot more interesting. So I'm just glad to have baseball at this point, I guess. But
Yes, sir, man. And happy birthday to your oldest daughter, 15. That's crazy that you have a 15-year-old, my man. Makes you old.
Messed up, man. It's messed up. I'll be 40 here in a couple of weeks, DJ.
Woo!
The big 4-0.
Join the club, baby.
Have you joined the club yet?
In April, I did.
Man. Well, I guess we would be in my dad used to call it the twilight of our careers. If we were pro baseball players right now, we're lucky enough to be playing. Unless you're Nelson Cruz, you're pretty well done at this point.
I'd have been done at 36 or 37. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. The way I felt at those two ages, I'd have been out.
Yeah. Well, we'll wrap it up, DJ. I appreciate it. Another good episode. All three of our listeners, if you share this, you'll be entered to win a trip to Chicago to DJ's house, and so we'll be drawing for that next week.
Oh, that's awesome.
DJ's going to give you batting lessons. He learned a lot from his years with the White Sox. He's going to give you some tips.
You never let that go, will you?
Never, ever. Especially after you left Eloy out of the All-Star. I'll never forgive you for that.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
All right, buddy.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you later, man.
All right, we'll see you guys.
All right.